Hey, Rolling Out family. Today we speak with Karen Hall, founder and CEO of the Cancer Support Team Incorporated. Karen is a two-time breast cancer survivor who passionately advocates for others while also serving as a caregiver and a crucial member of various health-focused organizations. Karen's commitment to advocacy has motivated her to share her journey at various cancer awareness events and plays an active role in legislative initiatives promoting cancer-related bills and funding. Today, she shares her journey with us. Welcome, Karen Hall, to Health IQ. How
Thank
are
you
you,
so
Karen?
much, Eddie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's really an honor and a privilege to be here. So
Yes,
thank
yes,
you.
yes, you're welcome. I'm very excited to speak with you today in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I'll
Yes.
just jump right into it. Can you
Okay.
share your story from the moment you received your breast cancer diagnosis to where you are now?
Wow. So when I received my diagnosis, I just went in for a simple mammogram, as you know, we're all told to do, early detection is best. And I went in for the simple mammogram, and then they did a couple more tests and they called me in. They were like, hey, you have an appointment on this day at this time with this doctor. Okay. And so when I went, the last thing on my mind was breast cancer. Absolutely the last thing. And when the surgeon said you have breast cancer, it kind of felt like the bottom of my feet kind of fell out. And so as she was talking, intellectually, I was understanding everything that she said, but I had shut down emotionally. And so emotionally, it was fear. What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my family? So that was tough. That was tough to hear those words. It's one of those things that you wish you didn't hear it and you know you can't take it back. So now what are you going to do?
Mhm.
So the next couple of days was very trying. I talked to a spiritual counselor to kind of get me spiritually prepared. Because one of the things we go through is the guilt. Hey, I'm a Christian. I've been praying, I've been doing all these good things. Why is this happening to me? As we go further with my advocacy, I learned that everybody has cancer cells in their body. It's just the way that your body processes those particular cells. So I went through spiritual counseling. Then I was finally able to talk to my family and friends about it. But I had to get a clear understanding and acceptance myself first. So I had to go through the whole, he did me wrong, crying and things like that, and finally say, okay, what are you going to do about it?
Mhm.
Then I started being my own advocate, doing the
Mhm.
research, talking to the doctors, asking the questions that needed to be asked. So the first time wasn't as bad as the second time. So this story really is talking about the second time I was diagnosed. Um, then I had to go through chemo, right? And chemo was pretty tough. Even though my symptoms was mild, they were very, very tough. I went through the nausea, the hair loss, but I found some strength in going through that. And a couple of things I did is I prepared myself for the chemo treatments, meaning I made sure I had the right foods in the house. I changed the linen on my bed. I made sure I had my snacks. Everything was prepared for me to come out of chemo and take care of myself
Mhm.
to make sure that I would be okay. One of the things that gave me kind of strength was one day my girlfriend called and she says, "Open the door." And I'm like, "Girl, look, I don't have, my wig on. I don't have, I ain't draw my eyebrows on and nothing." And she's like, "I'm not coming in. I just want to give you something." And what she gave me was a pound of shrimp, right? And from my favorite place. And that just touched me to the utmost, because it's like you feel like you're doing this battle by yourself. And then when
Mm.
someone does something like that to you, you know that you have the support of your friends and your family. And I was like, I'm going through this whole side effect thing, but you know what? They going down. They might come up, but they're going down today. And so, it just really helped me, for things like that. Now, the surgery was after the chemo, so it really wasn't a big deal. And the surgery for me was simply just taking the remaining of the tumor that the chemo did not get rid of.
Mhm.
And so the recovery from my surgery really wasn't that bad. And then radiation, the hardest part about radiation was going 5 days a week at the same time. That was
Mhm.
really the hardest part. It wasn't the actual treatment itself, because that only took a couple of minutes. They kind of,
Mhm.
drew on you and they line you up, and then you get a dose of radiation. And so, the overall experience, though, itself changed my life. No longer dealt with the trying to work in corporate, and
Mhm.
the roof, and I gotta have the best things in this, the best car, the best clothes, and all of that change when you have this life altering diagnosis.
I want to go back to something that you mentioned, and it goes back to the story when a friend of yours dropped off that shrimp, right?
Mhm.
Why do you believe having a strong community and a support network is essential when dealing with breast cancer?
Well, one of the things is that you feel alone. And so having a strong family and community that you can network with is those days that you feel depressed, you're hurting, you're in pain, you don't want to give up. I think it's critical that you have a support system that you can tap into to help you. You may have those days where you're too sick to cook for yourself or clean your house. It's essential. You may have children that you're unable to take to school or drop off. So having that network of family and friends to walk with you, I call it walking with you through your journey. It's essential. You really need to have it. And if you don't have family and friends, there's support groups out there that's necessary for you to tap into.
So let's talk about the cancer support team. What made you start that?
So I started the cancer support team in 2019. And one of the reasons why is a couple of reasons. When I was going through treatment, you lose all of your hair, right? But what they don't tell you, you not only lose the hair in your head, you lose all hair in your body.
Mm.
And so I lost my eyebrows, right? And so I went to a support group meeting. And what I've learned is that there was very limited support groups in the African American community. So I had to travel way west or in the city or something like that. And I said, no, we need the support here. When I was going through treatment, one of the things that helped me to manage going through all of the depression and anxiety, I made a wig, because the wigs that they had available was not designed for African American women. So we
Mhm.
didn't want to wear it,
Mhm.
and so we had to spend the cost of going out our own self and buying wigs, even though wigs free for us. And
Mhm.
so the fact that no support, the fact that people was calling me constantly because of the way that I handled my diagnosis. So I was always getting called for support. I'm talking to people, I'm going up to the hospital and things like that. And I said, this is essentially needed. This is what I love doing it. And after a diagnosis, you your life change. right? And so now your values change. And so I would want it to be more of a support of my community versus trying to reach that brick ceiling in the corporation. And so, compound with those things, I said, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Let's just start a support group in the underserved communities and tap into the hospitals to get the necessary resources and information and knowledge of what our community need in order to beat this devastation diagnosis.
Yes, yes. You mentioned tapping into the hospitals. Um, how did having the right doctor impact your treatment journey? And what advice would you give to someone searching for the right healthcare partner?
Okay. So having the right doctor is key number one. Having the right doctor. Also, not just the right doctor, the one that specializes in the services that you need him to be, the one that's compassionate, the one that listens to you, right? And help you to understand your treatment plan and allow you to be a good component of making the decisions for your own care. It's essential. Instead of just talking at you, when you find a doctor that talks to you, there are foreign doctors out there that really doesn't understand the components of being an African American that's diagnosed with cancer. We
Mhm,
have different issues than our Caucasian women. Okay. We have
mhm,
childbearing issues. We
mhm.
have transportation issues. We have job issues. We got a lot of issues that we deal with, and you need to have a doctor that understands that and
Mhm.
that's able to work with you so that you can get the necessary treatment that you need.
Yes. So, how has surviving breast cancer changed your perspective on life and your priorities?
Well, I mean, I mentioned earlier, I was gun ho in the corporate world. I was the traveling queen. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
Hmm.
they gonna look at me. They gonna know who I am, baby. I was the black woman in the Chicago office with the braids, right? And that's who they identify. It
Hmm.
was very rare they would say my name. They said, "Hey, remember the black lady in the Chicago office with the braid? Oh yeah, I know her, right?" So I was one of, I was kind of up there, working on, 10, $15 million contracts, traveling, and sitting in other offices. That was critical and that was important to me. I can recall just on the Thanksgiving, right? I have a house full of people and I'm on my computer because we do a last minute testing to go live, right? After my diagnosis, um, it changed my life. It changed my perspective. Like I said, I no longer wanted to be that person.
Mm.
I no longer wanted to have to make all of the money
Hmm.
because what I decided is that as long as I was sitting in that chair and not taking care of myself, okay, my diagnosis could have been really, really worse than what
Hmm.
it really was. And so I just had to change my whole perspective on life. What do you want to do? Because I decided I'm not going back to that environment because I really do believe with all of my heart, being up under so much stress and anxiety for 7 to 10 years straight made it a good ground for me to get diagnosed with breast cancer again. And so I really believe that with all of my heart. So I had to thank them for being so hard on me, right? For forcing me to go on FMLA, because have I not went on FMLA, I would not have taken the time to go and get my mammogram,
Hmm.
right? I would have still been on the computer trying to be, one of the good old girls, doing whatever I can, trying to kill myself to make money for somebody else. And so this time I'm doing this from the heart. It's not for the money. I'm doing this from the heart. All of my services, the cancer support team, are free.
Hmm.
I depend on donations to continue. And, a lot of the funds is coming out of my own pocket. That's how passionate I am about helping other people um, live a better life,
Hmm.
or just know you're not walking this journey alone. Somebody is walking it with you that cares. Somebody is walking it with you that's been there, that knows one day you can wake up feeling fantastic on top of the world, and then the next day you cannot get out of bed. Okay. So I don't really know how to explain. It just really just changed who I am. Um,
I
I'm
want
more
to.
passionate. I'm more patient.
Hmm.
I'm more giving. I'm more of service, to people instead of sitting back waiting to be served.
Yes. You know, and that makes me want to go back to something that you mentioned earlier on when you first started going through this healing journey. You mentioned that you had a spiritual counselor that you went to.
Yes.
Talk about the importance of being spiritually grounded during a during a journey like this.
Wow. I believe, and this is my personal belief, that you should have some type of higher power to be grounded on. You have to have faith. You have to have a little faith in a higher power. Now, whatever that higher, if it's Buddha, whatever it is to you, it was critical because one of the things we deal with when we're diagnosed, and especially as Christians, we feel guilty. How can I have gotten diagnosed with this? I've been a good girl. I've done everything God told me to do. I pray every day and right? And so the way I have defined cancer as it relates to my spirituality is cancer is an opportunity for God to reveal itself in and through me. So
Hmm.
the spirit that I have in my relationship with God is I'm allowing God to do his perfect work in this body, right? And I believe God did his perfect work in this body, And so being spiritual or having a higher power that you depend on and have faith in is essential because nobody knows if the treatment is going to work,
Hmm.
right? We
Yep.
don't know. We just have to have faith that it will work.
Yep. Yep. 100%. Were there, you mentioned the shrimp earlier. That made me laugh because you said those shrimp was going down. Were there any other unexpected sources of comfort or hope that helped you during your battle?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier about the wig. And I said and I made a wig and that gave me hope. They gave me a lot of comfort because uh, certain times when you're in treatment, you cannot go out. You cannot be amongst people because your resistance are extremely low,
Hmm.
right? And so at those times where I was confined to the house, that instead of being bored and being depressed about my situation, I said, let's do something, right? So I started to make a wig. Other things is I looked at, you know, comedy on TV. And
Hmm.
then also I started planning for after the treatment. And
Yes.
I think that's essential. So we need to be able to reach for something as we're going through this anxiety and suffering and pain. It's like I'm going all the way through this because, hey, once I hit that door at the end, this is what I'm going to do to celebrate.
Yes, yes. So, what message do you want to share with others about the importance of breast cancer awareness, advocacy, and building a support network?
Wow. So with that one, I did write something because I'm like, that was a good one. Okay. So early detection through regular self-examinations, mammograms, we know that is important. And that can significantly improve your lifespan, right? Educate yourself. Make sure you educate yourself. Okay. One thing that I do kind of want to say is, and I always make this statement, family secrets heals families. Let's talk about it. That's A number one. Talk about it. What did A.T. Joyce die from? Right? Let's talk about it. She just died. No. She died from something. And a lot of times we find out that she died from a breast cancer. Right? And so know your family history, right? If anyone on your mother or family or father's side that has cancer, right, you need to go and get the BRCA test to find out your risk factors. Self-advocacy is essential. You have to be your own advocate. Do not sit back and wait for someone else to advocate for you. What you will find out as you advocate for yourself, you're keeping that medical team on their toes because they know they just can't blow smoke at you and you're going to accept it.
Yes.
So trust your instincts, speak up. If you think something ain't right, open your mouth. If you think you might need a second opinion, go get it. Okay? Remember, it's your one life, even though your doctor may have 50 or 60 patients, but you got that one life that you're dealing with. Make sure you build a support network, family, friends. It can even be coworkers. But you need that support to help advocate for you. Sometimes they may just need to just be there and listen to you. You know, they can't do anything to fix it, but that's important. You know, a support group. So the final, together, awareness, self-advocacy, and a strong support network can create a powerful, powerful tyrant against breast cancer. So let's spread the message. One thing I wanted to share, when I started the support group, not this one, I went to a support group to figure out how to draw these eyebrows on my eyes because I figured I was the only one that had to deal with that, right? And so that was the reason why I went to the support group. But I met about 6 women, and all of us was in treatment at different times and phases of our life. But we all came together and we were our own support system. We cried together. We went over to each other's houses and we broke bread. We went to basketball games together, exercising together. And it was great because not only did I have my family, I had 5 other women that if I could call at any time of the day or night, and they understand what I'm going through. So that's the importance of getting into a support group.
You mentioned earlier that you do a lot of your funding out of your own pocket and through donations for the cancer support team. How can people donate to the cancer support team?
Well, on our website, you can go to our website at www.cancersupportteam.net. And on our first main page, there is a donate button. And you click the donate button and you can, proceed with there. You can call us at 708-580-6456. Or you can send us an email at info@cancersupportteam.net. and we are sociably friendly. So we have the Facebook and Twitter and what's the other ones? I forget all
Instagram.
of them. Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. So we are on all of the social platforms. If you would like to just kind of touch us and say hello, if you're looking for something specific, we not only support with cancer support group meetings first Wednesday of the month, which is today. Actually, I am hosting our survivor support group meeting. Every quarter, we host the survivor caregiver because we know the difference between the survivor and the caregiver is the diagnosis. So they
Yes.
deal with the same emotional effects of a diagnosis, and they suffer in silence because they don't feel they have the right to even speak because they weren't the ones to get diagnosed. So we support our caregivers as well. We
Yes.
provide free wigs to our cancer survivors, patients, and also women living with alopecia. Go to our website and it's called Crowning Star Wig Program. And then we have care bags. So if you are an institution, I'm looking for clinics and hospitals and things like that, that we can share care bags with you. You know, it's always nice to kind of just have a little token from someone that basically says, I'm there, I care. You
Yes.
know,
Yes. Karen, thank you so much for sharing your story here on Health
thank
IQ.
you.
We thank you for your dedication to such an important cause. And as always, I say stay focused, positive, and productive. Peace.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.